Hello ladies and gentlemen, it's the Historical Gamer once again, and today we're returning to the defining game of my channel for the last 3 months, and that is Ultimate General Civil War. The reason for our return to Ultimate General Civil War? Well, the granddaddy of them all is now available. As you may know, Ultimate General Civil War is available in early access on Steam. When the game was originally released, they only covered up through Antietam, but again, early access is the process of releasing a game in a partially finished state, allowing it to get basically in-life beta usage by players, input to sometimes affect design and features, and they had a whole, bunch of other battles they were looking at covering. And they had added Fredericksburg, Stones River, and Chancellorsville, and now they've done it. They've added the granddaddy of them all, the Battle of Gettysburg. I'm actually kind of curious. I thought they were going to add some Vicksburg's battles, so I'm curious what those will look like. Wow, I can't speak. But today, it's Gettysburg, the massive July 1st through July 3rd battle, Robert E. Lee's second invasion of the Union, 75,000 Confederates versus some 90,000 Union troopers. General Hooker replaced in the middle of the campaign as Lee was marching north, and General George Gordon Meade took control of the Army of the Potomac and fought on the slopes in Pennsylvania that would define or decide the future of the Eastern Theater, at least as far as any kind of Confederate ambitions to remove the war from the Virginia Theater. With that all being said, we are going to play as the Confederacy in the Battle of Gettysburg. I think it's probably a little bit more challenging and a little bit more interesting to be on the offensive in this kind of a battle, especially when you get to days 2 and 3, where the Union is kind of standing pat on their positions. So as you can see here, day 1 of the Battle of Gettysburg, July 1st, 1863, General Lee is invading the Union soil for a second time after his triumph in Chancellorsville. His main goal is a new decisive victory that could end the war politically, but he also wants to gather supplies for his army outside of war-torn Virginia. General Hooker, leading the Army of the Potomac, began to pursue Lee in Pennsylvania. However, his poor performance at Chancellorsville and his very cautious maneuvers eventually led to Lincoln to suddenly replace him with General Meade. Lee has ordered A.P. Hill to avoid a general engagement with the enemy before he could assemble his full army on carefully chosen ground. Yet his division, led by General Heath, disobeyed that order by aggressively advancing to the town of Gettysburg. While Stuart's cavalry is inexplicably too far away for the main army, General Lee has to gather the rest of his forces to assist A.P. Hill's corps and counter the Union threat at Gettysburg. So those of you who may remember, General Stonewall Jackson was shot by his own men at the Battle of Chancellorsville and ended up dying shortly thereafter of, I think it was pneumonia, as a result, Lee had to reorganize his army before this battle. It had previously been operating as 2 wings, one under General James Longstreet and one under General Stonewall Jackson, probably the 2 most capable corps commanders in the Confederate Army in the entire war, both operating under Lee, both being given wide latitude in the way that they behaved. Lee would make recommendations rather than orders and allow his lieutenants to figure things out. Second Manassas was probably the best example of the best way that this could occur, with Jackson holding Pope back largely on his own, Longstreet formulating a counterattack, and at the very last minute, before Jackson was about to break, Longstreet swings in on the flank and crushes the Union army. But by Gettysburg, the only trusted lieutenant that Lee had in command of one of his corps was Longstreet, and on the first day of Gettysburg, Longstreet was still on the way. He was dealing with 2 brand new corps commanders on July 1st, General Richard Ewell, commanding I believe it was the 2nd Corps, and General A.P. Hill, commanding the 3rd Corps. These 2 corps were made up largely of General Jackson's corps, which had been split up because Lee didn't really trust any of his other commanders to command a force quite so large as Jackson had commanded, and I believe there were some forces taken from Longstreet as well to ensure that both corps had suitable striking power. As you can see here, you can see our army includes Davies' Brigade, I guess, which is 4 infantry units, the 3rd Corps, Archer's Brigade, and the 2nd Corps. Our army consists of 4 corps, which is not historically accurate anyway, 8 divisions, 40 brigades, 30,000 soldiers, and 130 guns, while the Union has 7 corps. I guess one of those could be the cavalry corps, so that might be accurate. The Union has 7 corps, 15 divisions, 93 brigades, 33,000 soldiers, and 77 guns. I assume these are the figures for the first day's battle, because by the end of the battle, more than 90,000 Union troops are on scene with more than 75,000 total Confederate troops, although a vast majority of those would end up being wounded or killed. So let's go ahead and jump in. Okay, Heath's division of about 7,500 men is marching toward the town of Gettysburg. By the way, it's worth pointing out that General Henry Heath was a brand new division commander, eager to get into action and prove himself as a commander of a brand new Confederate division. Might not have been a new division commander, did have a new division. Marching toward the town of Gettysburg, a reconnaissance mission. The Army of the Potomac pursues our army, and we need to scout the area for enemy movements. Remember, there's no Confederate cavalry out front, so the Confederates really only know as much as they can see with their infantry marching on foot. But General Buford's cavalry for the Union is delaying our advance, and he seems to be determined to defend the ridges west of town. Could he be supported by infantry? We must find out. Hint, hint, spoiler alert, he will be, yes. Okay, so Archer's brigade's advancing against the dismounted cavalry to his front. You can see here Archer's brigade is coming up. Davis's brigade follows up. Those two brigades are broken up in regiments to confront the dismounted cavalry. Well, yeah, generally brigades were broken up into regiments. You can see here the Federals are on McPherson's Ridge, at McPherson's farm. There's a little wooded area here to the south where I believe the Iron Brigade would rush in, and General Reynolds, commander of the Union First Corps, would end up being wounded. This is really McPherson's Ridge if the geography from Sid Meier's Gettysburg is to be believed. And back here is Seminary Ridge. Up here I think we have Oak Hill, which is a very defensible terrain as well. So you can see here our forces are moving up. I think it makes sense. I don't know if I can just... No, it doesn't let me do that. I wish I could select. Oh, whatever. Send these skirmishers forward. One thing that the game does, I think, not do a great job of is allowing you to command divisions effectively. It doesn't quite have a Scourge of War interface where basically you just command, you actually have a button you can click to command the entire division and form it in line or something to that effect. To my knowledge, anyway. Alright, don't be cowards. At least you're eating some enemy canister fire. Skirmishers. I think they're in skirmish formation. Yeah, they are. Archer, you're going to come up on the flank. I know the Iron Brigade comes up here some point, so they may be here already. Okay, you can see our troops moving up. Gamble's brigade here. Enemy cavalry's pulling out here toward the center. I'm always a proponent of killing enemy artillery when you can. So this is one of those battles that's going to scale. The interesting thing about Gettysburg from a gameplay perspective is it's almost the perfect battle for a video game. You've got small forces that come up and fight initially, which allows you to kind of build a tutorial type scenario. And then you've got, increasing forces as you begin to become proficient in the game. The forces engaged become larger and larger and larger, and the fight becomes more and more complex. So it's an interesting kind of a fight there. We just lost Colonel Davies, commander of one of our regiments here in the north, which will hurt our morale. Davis. Although we do have Davis down here, so I'm not quite sure if we have multiple Davises or what that's all about. Uh-oh, the Union First Corps is arriving on the field. Those Black Hat boys, the Iron Brigade, made up of Michigan and Wisconsin regiments, which would lose so heavily at the Battle of Gettysburg and become immortalized as saving the Union Army as a result of them coming up in time to save Reynolds' cavalry from certain destruction. Wow, that artillery is almost completely destroyed now. Alright, so that battery's gone at least. Okay, we're going to move these guys up. Okay, so we've pushed them, hopefully, back. Move our artillery up here. And our supply. They're still formed up around this fence line, but they can't hold for long. Let's see where this Union infantry, I haven't seen anyone coming up yet. They may form up on Cemetery Ridge, I'm not sure. Why are my skirmishers charging way out there all on their own? Those damn black-hatted fellows. Tain't no militia, 'tis the army of the Potomac. I don't know why I'm speaking like that. Alright. Devon looks like he's going to charge his men forward to try and take position back. I'm assuming this is defensive terrain. Interesting, there's like a defensive cut in the road. I don't understand why you would have defenses that would allow you to expose your flank to the oncoming rebels, but maybe if we're attacking from the north, this little railroad cut, I believe, is sort of the famous railroad cut. Oh my god, there's a lot of men. Cutler's Brigade coming up from the north, outflanking us a bit. Wait, are these guys charging? That would be ill-advised. I mean, if they're going to do that to us, we can just advance and maybe use those railroad cuts. We should move archers, some reserves north here, because it seems the bulk of the Union Army is coming down to try and flank us. Davis's regiments are outflanked, and the Union's bringing some pretty substantial numbers down on us. They're sprinting forward. Let's see here, we've got more reserves coming up. Move Pettigrew's division to the north to secure our northern flank. Meanwhile, I'm kind of tempted to advance across this open terrain toward the Seminary Ridge. We'll see. Artillery forward. We can get our artillery up here. We can fire into the Union flank, perhaps. Come on, Archer. Don't get overexcited. Don't get too excited now. Alright. I don't know what the Federals are holding back to defend Cemetery Ridge, but we're gonna investigate. We're gonna swing these guys around the flank. I hope these guys aren't running. Pettigrew's Brigade. That's okay, they can push us back a little bit. That'll expose them to flanking, and Pettigrew's got a massive brigade there, 2,500 men. Brockenborough, you come in here to stem the tide. We'll run you in. These guys get engaged in melee fighting. And looks like the Union has kind of outpaced their own positions. More Iron Brigade regiments spotted, sir. Oh shit, these guys are coming up. Okay. No, don't chart. Oh shit. No, don't do that. I didn't mean to click that button. Halt. Okay. Get back up here, Archer. Try and secure that ridge. Alright. So now the Federals are kind of caught in a salient here, which is good. A little bit of a... As you move in here, we're kind of getting around their rear. We may be able to outflank this whole line and drive them back. Any more troops coming up? No? Okay. You guys move this way. Bit of a sprawling engagement here. They're in great cover up on Seminary Ridge here. I don't know what the Federals are in, but we've now secured the ridge. You can see here we've got 2,500 men into the Federal rear. Fire a volley at these guys while they run. Now the one thing about these Union brigades is these are crack brigades or crack regiments here in this early part of the fight. Some of these guys I think suffered something like 70% casualties in the Battle of Gettysburg historically, So they may be driven back, but they're going to be very difficult to actually destroy. Although you can see here the artillery just ravaged Cutler's guys. That regiment's gone. This regiment's gone. So we just drove 2 regiments completely from the field of battle. Meanwhile, Archer is faring well. He's on good terrain, 100% cover on Seminary Ridge, defending against a single Federal regiment. We just drove more Federal guys from the field permanently. So again, the more you can drive off permanently, the better, because those guys can't rally and come back. They're gone for good. More Yankee reinforcements. Great, more guys coming from the south. More divisions of the 1st Corps of the fray. It seems that we've invited the whole Army of the Potomac. Okay, thankfully we'll get more reinforcements soon. Pender's division shall enter the battlefield from this direction. Okay, Pender, well you could get here sooner. That would be ideal. Let's use these guys to fire into the flank. So we're kind of splitting the Federal Army at this point. I don't know if it would be advisable to try and get these guys on these trench lines. Bring Brockenborough south. Also bring Davis. These 2 brigades. Archer, I don't know who he commands. Alright, so we're going to try and advance on Oak Ridge, which is this grassy area up here. I don't know if I have sufficient forces or not. We're going to bring some artillery up. Firing them at more close range. And AP Hill, the Corps commander, will bring up. You can see we're losing a lot of guys wounded. Okay, so these guys going into that trench line didn't really work out. Holy crap, that's a lot of Federals. Alright, Brockenborough, you go here. Davies, you go... Actually, I don't know. I'm not quite sure what to do here. It doesn't look like they're really coming up on our flank, which is kind of what I was worried about. We've got some skirmishers here on the south to protect. Looks more like they're coming more center on. Don't run. But now we're going to expose Brockenborough's flank. Davis needs to come up here before he's done. Got McIntosh's battery in place as well. Now, historically, the Confederates didn't, I don't think, push the Union off McPherson's. Actually, I think the Union, there was heavy fighting in this kind of railroad area. But... Alright. So we've secured Oak Ridge, but that's only because we got Pettigrew's brigade in the vicinity. You can see here we just drove one more brigade off. Devon's cavalry is coming up north. They were previously positioned along this little sort of null here, if we're basing off where they historically were. They ended up hindering the advance of Early's corps, which had come down. We have more troops over here? Don't see anything. Oh, we've got Archer's brigade. Looks like they must have been pushed back at some point. Advance them there. You can see these guys are just kind of trying to hold out against the Union. Henry Heath is wounded, which is historical. He did get wounded. And we just lost a brigade. 2 brigades, it looks like. Pettigrew losing more than I'd like him to. I need Pender's brigade to come up really bad. There's one, but I feel like this must just be the objective point that's red on the map. How about this artillery comes up here? And this artillery will kind of fill the gap. Meanwhile, let's... Damn it. Resecured Oak Ridge. It's got about another hour of fighting. We'll bring these guys up from the south. Archer, I need you to swing north. Flank up here is definitely in danger. Who's charging who? Face them. Don't expose your flank. Volley fire into Stone's men charging up this ridge line at you. 800 casualties to only 200 received. Good work, boys. There you go. Broke Stone's brigade, at least temporarily. Alright, let's advance you guys here. There are more objectives to the east. Doesn't look like Cemetery Hill's over there. Pettigrew's the only thing. Oh, shit. There goes our battery of artillery. I need all of you guys to steady my northern flank. 3 brigades, 3 large brigades. Up there. Lane's brigade will form you in a reserve. God damn it. And there goes my left. My entire left. Just caved in. The good thing is we've done better than historical, but we are losing casualties that are going to be, you know, we don't get to replace them. That's the thing about this kind of a fight is it's... Oh, some of these guys are routing from the field altogether. Damn it. Oh, well, they've broken my left. I've kind of broken their right. I don't think they're going to try and advance. I can still throw Pettigrew in. I've got artillery, so if they want to advance across the open to try and crack my flank, they'll probably suffer. Meanwhile, I'm bringing Hender's division down on their flank. So... Damn. Alright, let's put you guys in this little ridge line here. Have any more troops coming up? Just some artillery and supplies. Those are useful. Come on, route these guys on horses. There's 80 of them. Oh, for fuck's sake. There, okay, Devon's, that company is gone. Pettigrew is not doing well. And another brigade routes from the field. There goes Seminary Ridge. Where are you guys getting shot at? I don't even see anyone. Well, that ain't good. Yes, okay, he's gone. Bring these 3 brigades down here. Bring this artillery up on the flank. Move Jones up a little bit. He's lost heavily, but... Lane is into these trenches, and they're on our flank. Baxter's right on our flank. Man, this thing has devolved quickly. Now that basically Heath's whole division minus like 2 regiments that are just clinging to Seminary Ridge have been driven off. I think it's probably better for Lane to exit these trenches at this point. Alright guys, come on. $2,500 men coming down on like 80 skirmishers in the woods. They should be overwhelmed. They do have 1,600 men in Paul's brigade here. And there goes Lane. Driven off. I don't have enough forces down here to do anything except try and hold Seminary Ridge. These mounted guys are just proving to be bastards. All right, everybody. I hope you enjoyed this first part looking at the new Battle of Gettysburg, just included into Ultimate General Civil War. This audio was all taken from a live stream that I did just yesterday, a little bit late at night. So it's now Valentine's Day now that you're watching this, and this is part 1 of the Battle of Gettysburg. So I hope you guys are enjoying it thus far. I'm going to go ahead and cut the video off here. It does end up being about 50 minutes, which is a little bit long for one of my videos. So I'll go ahead and cut this in half, and I'll post the second half of this battle tomorrow. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video, and until next time, this is the Historical Gamer saying thank you for watching, and I'm out.